How come as soon as I want to start recording, people want to start talking outside my room? Okay. Anyway, hi guys, welcome back to my channel. We're doing a story time. Get ready with me, because I thought it would be a bit more exciting than just me sitting here in silence whilst... Ew, let's not do that. Yeah, I thought it would be a bit more exciting rather than me just sitting here in silence doing my makeup. Or why not tell a story? All my ladies. Okay, so let's get into the story. My ex cheated on me with my cousin. So, oh yeah, so before we start, before I get into it properly, the only reason I'm telling this story is because this happened like a good 3-4 years ago, which is why I can obviously tell the story now, because now I can find it hilarious. But anyway, okay, so let's give them names. There's 3 people involved in the story. So we have my ex. Let's name him Jose. So we have Jose, my ex. Then we have one of my friends. We're going to call him... We can give him a better name than Jose. Let's name him Enrique. So we have my friend Enrique. And then we have, obviously, my cousin. So let's name her... Let's name her... Why is it so hard for me to come up with names? It's not that deep. Okay, let's just name her Angelica. So we've got Jose, my ex, Enrique, my friend, and Angelica, my cousin. So this all starts off with my friend. What did I name him? My friend Enrique. My friend Enrique telling me about a girl that he was talking to. And, you know, he used to tell me like, yeah, I really like her, blah, blah, blah. Her name's Angelica, whatever. Like, he would just tell me about this girl that he likes. Okay, so a little side note for the story. At all this time, at this point when Enrique was telling me that he liked a girl and was talking to a girl called Angelica, I didn't know that she was my cousin, because I feel like brown people maybe could relate. Like, you know, there's always that side of the family that like you don't talk to and you don't know why. Like, you don't know why, you just always grown up not speaking to that side of the family. So basically she was from that side of the family that like we don't really talk to. So I obviously know that we have family on that side. Like, at that point, like, obviously I knew that I've got family on that side, but I just didn't know who they were, like, as in the kids, like my generation of that family. Does that make sense? And I feel like you lot will know what I'm on about regardless. Yeah, like, basically I just didn't know who they were, so it was one of them ones where I could have walked past them in the street and not known they were my cousins. So, back to the story. So, Enrique is telling me, yeah, I really like this girl, I'm speaking to her, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, like, he showed me her Grwm, he's like, told me her life story, this and that, like. And I'm like, you know what, I'm happy for you, Enrique, I'm really happy for you. So after that, like, wait, okay, no, okay, I can't remember how long after it was, but basically I actually do not know what I'm doing with my makeup today. I'm just literally putting colours on my friggin' lids and hoping for the best. We shall see what I end up with. Okay, so this was like a couple, I don't know, let's say a couple months after Enrique had told me about Angelica. I guess we're going for a pink look today then. okay. Yeah, so this was like a couple months after he had told me about Angelica. I'm just sitting at home minding my business, and I get a text off Enrique, and he's like, I need to tell you something, can you ring me? And I fully remember I was sitting on my sofa downstairs, and I weren't even doing nothing really, but I was just like, yeah, I'll ring you later, because you know them ones you don't really want to talk to someone on the phone, like, you're just like, you know, let me be. Basically it was just one of them ones, couldn't be asked to talk or nothing. Then he goes to me, it's about Jose. So then, girls, I know you will be able to relate. You know, as soon as someone tells you, yeah, they've got something to tell you about your man, you are not going to be able to wait for that information. Like, because as soon as he said that, my heart was just like, oh my God, what has happened? And so at that point, I was like, fuck this. I'm going to ring him straight away. So I remember I went upstairs to my room and I rang him, and he was like, so do you remember the girl I was speaking to? Okay, so them two were really like on and off from the information I was told. So them two was really on and off, so I never really knew when they were speaking, when they weren't speaking. All I knew is that they existed in each other's lives, whatever. So he goes to me, so do you remember why was I about to call her Alexis? Do you remember Angelica? Basically, I was speaking to her earlier and she told me something, and I was like, oh, what? And then he was like, did your cousin get married recently? Which I did have a cousin that got married, like, I think 2 or 3 months before this phone call had happened. So I'm like, yeah, I've only had like one cousin get married. Why? And then he's like, basically Angelica saw you there. So I'm like, what? I was like, she saw me. And he was like, yeah, she recognised you, obviously, because she's like seen you on my snap or whatever, and I've told her about you lot, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, okay. And then even at this point, yeah, it didn't ever register in my head that I could be related to this girl, right? I basically just thought, you know, I actually remember saying this. I was like, she was probably on the girl side. And then he was like, I don't know, like, all I know is she saw you at a wedding. And then so we're talking about this, yeah, and then I remembered that this phone call was actually something to do with my ex, well, my man at the time. So I was like, I thought this had something to do with Jose. And he's like, yeah, basically she said that she had to tell me something. So I'm like, okay, what? So as soon as I heard these words, like, she had to tell me something, you know when your brain kind of just knows what's about to come. Be right back, I need to go wet my sponges. So when she had seen me at this wedding, she had obviously told Enrique that she saw me. And then, where was I at with this story? Okay, so, yeah. So she's seen me at the wedding, and she's basically said to Enrique, okay, I need to tell you something. And basically, what she tells him is that, probably, I want to say it was maybe that same year, or it was a year before that. Basically, that she was doing a thing with my ex, right? And she was like, oh yeah, that's her boyfriend, isn't it? And then he was like, yeah, why? And basically she had said that they had, you know, done a thing, whatever, and that then he had basically told her he was single, but he obviously wasn't the prick, right? He weren't single, but he had told her that he was single. So, okay, look, listen, another side note, I don't blame her for any of this, right? Like, I think girls are quick to blame the girl in situations like this, but don't get me wrong, there are some girls out there that are trash and they'll get with guys knowing they've got girlfriends, but like, he was telling her he was single, whatever, okay? Oh, okay, and he was a little sneaky one as well, so he would like not post pictures of me on his gram and stuff, whatever, which, to be honest, I didn't like care that he didn't do that, but obviously there was just no sign of me in his life to someone that was an outsider. So of course, yeah, she probably did think he was single. Anyway, so then I don't know how she found out about me, but basically she somehow did find out about me, and when she must have confronted him, he basically said, oh no, we're not together anymore. So like, first of all, yes bitch, we were together. I'm calling him a bitch, not her, by the way, but like, yes, like, we were together. He would just like say that we're not, you know, which, okay, fair enough, you want to do your dirt, you're obviously gonna say that we're not together anymore, okay. But all right, so when he had said that to her, she, I don't know, I can't remember how this bit goes, but either way, he was still denying me when she kind of found out about me, whatever. And then I don't know how long whatever their thing was carried on, I don't know, but basically I think she is the one that stopped it, which, okay, that's good. And then so basically she felt the need to obviously tell Enrique, because obviously that's quite awkward, yeah? Imagine it from her point of view. You're talking to a new guy and one of your new guy's good friends is the girlfriend of the guy you used to see, but really he was with this girl while he was seeing you. Head fuck, right? Anyway, so, you know, whatever, she felt the need to tell him, which, okay. So when I found out this information, I can't even explain it, because, okay, so with like, I'm not even trying to like give too much information about my relationship out right now, but that relationship was very shit, okay? Let's just be real, it was shit. And he was basically Satan. He was Satan, but at the time when I found out this information, this was one of our more like good times. Like, this is when we were kind of in a good place. So, and like, basically I had kind of given him a clean slate around this time. So before, I don't know, I had basically clean slated him. So when I found out this information that had happened a year ago, I didn't know what to do, because basically I'm thinking, I was mad. Obviously I'm gonna be mad, but at the same time I was like, God's sake, like, this happened like a year ago, and after that I've clean slated him and said that I won't bring up the past. Like, girls, these manipulative ass guys will always use that line. They'll always be like, don't bring up the past, which, you know what, fair enough. Sometimes, like, it's a sticky one, because sometimes, yeah, you shouldn't bring up the past. Not that you shouldn't bring up the past, but like, you shouldn't use someone's past against them. But if that past has something to do with you, like, come on, mate, that shit happened, right? So I was in a very sticky situation right now. I just thought, like, what do I do? Do I mention it to him? Like, I told him I'd clean slate him and that I won't bring up anything in the past, and do you know what I mean? So anyway, I ended up confronting him about it. I was like, I can't remember how I worded it, but basically, like, I told him that, bitch, I know what you did. And I can't even remember how the convo went. I cannot remember how the convo went, because like I said, this was a good 3-4 years ago. This was time ago. So I can't even remember how the conversation went with him, but basically I must have been mad for about 2 days and confronted him about it. And then after that, I basically think I dropped it. So guys, you need to remember, at this point, I still do not know that this girl is my cousin, right? So now, let's talk about how I found out she was my cousin. So, me and my family are at the temple, right? Getting right with the Lord. And okay, so shall I explain how she's my cousin? Okay, so my granddad and her grandma are siblings, right? And like, obviously at that time we didn't really talk to them, like 4 or 5 years ago, for like basically obviously I know who they are, yeah, as in my granddad's sister and like my uncles and stuff. I know who they are. It's just that I wouldn't have been able to recognise their kids, which has changed now because everyone kind of chats now, so it's fine. So anyway, at the time, obviously my granddad's sister was there at the temple as well. And then, I'm not rude, right? I obviously said hello to her and stuff, and you know, I'm not a rude person. I'm obviously going to say hello, yeah, that's my granddad's sister. And so, okay, so she must have been just, you know, like talking to me about like uni, stuff like that, just life. And then she's obviously telling me about my cousins, and so she's kind of like, obviously there's a couple of them on that side, so she's explaining, she's talking about some of them, and obviously she's saying one name in particular, but it took me so long to clock it. Alright, so she's explaining about one of my cousins and she's talking about her. So she's obviously saying her name in like an Indian accent, so it's not even clicking in my head. What name did I give her? Angelica. I don't know how to say Angelica in an Indian accent, but okay, let's just assume, I mean, not let's just assume, you lot can just work it out in your head, yeah, how she would be saying this name, right? So she's saying this name in a proper Indian accent, so it's not even clicking to me. Like, to me, it's like, this, like, Angelica weren't even coming into my head. So she's talking about Angelica, whatever, and, you know, I'm just, you know, talking along, asking about her, rah, rah. And then what? And then she's telling me more and more information about Angelica. So now she's telling me like Angelica, is that what I named her? Yeah, I'm sure it is. I feel like I said it wrong then. Yeah, so she's telling me about Angelica's uni and like just giving me details. And then I'm thinking, where have I heard this before? Like, I knew that this sounded familiar. And then I fully remember this, yeah. I was walking down like one of the corridors in the temple, and she's still talking to me, giving me all this information, and then I swear to God, all the dots just connected. And I remember my face just dropped. I was like, no, it can't be. I was like, nah, this can't be real. Like, this, like, I've connected these dots, but these dots better unconnect, because this better not be the truth. Like, no way. Because then I started saying her name in the English accent, because obviously I'd been hearing it in the Indian accent for about an hour, and then I said it to myself in, you know, an English accent, and then I was like, nah. I was like, nope, this can't be real, this cannot be real. But you know when you just know, like, I literally stopped in my tracks. I literally thought, nope, this cannot be happening to me, like, this ain't real life, like, she's not my cousin, like, no way, it can't be. So I was about 90% sure at this point that I had worked it out. I was sure, like, you know when you just know, you can feel it in your body and stuff, you can just feel it. I knew, but I still had that 10% where I thought, no, you know, it could be another Angelica that does the same thing as this Angelica, like, it's not the same girl. No. So then, with my 90% sure self, obviously, he was obviously still my boyfriend at the time. I messaged my ex, I messaged Man Like Jose, and I was like, so, you know Angelica, you do know she's my cousin, right? And even at this point while I was texting, I thought, nay, you know there's like 10% chance that this girl ain't your cousin. But, you know, I still decided to text him, and I was like, yeah, she's my cousin. And then I could tell, like, he just felt awkward, and he was like, no she's not, no she's not. And I was like, honey, you do realise the whole side of my family that I don't talk to, which is why you wouldn't know. And then I don't even know, like, I could just tell he felt mad awkward. Like, I don't even have his chats anymore to, like, go back and look at what the conversation was, but all I can remember is that he felt mad awkward, which rightfully so. Imagine cheating on your girl and finding out a year later that that's her cousin. Imagine that. So then I've obviously got home, and then I've messaged Enrique, and I'm like, oh my god, Enrique, I need to tell you something. So then he's rang me, and then I've explained this all to him, and he's like, oh my god, like, you two are actually cousins. And I was like, listen, like, I'm only 90% sure, like, I could have got it wrong. And then basically he's then messaged Angelica and been like, oh, you do know Nay's your cousin, right? And then basically me and her end up following each other on Grwm and DMing each other. And then I remember she was like, oh my god, I just asked my mom, and yeah, like, yeah, we are cousins. And I was just like, rah. Because the thing is, obviously, like, her mom, my dad, everyone knows the kids' names. Like, her mom obviously knew my name, and my parents obviously knew her name. It's just that because we were never really around each other when we were young. Well, I think we were around each other when we were like little. I'm talking like probably when I was like, what is this hair doing? You know, this is baby hair that has never grown in my life. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, like, obviously we'd probably been around each other when we were very, very tiny. Like, probably up to the age of maybe, like, when I was 2. Something like that. But you know what I mean? Like, not long enough for me to have known their names. Anyway, so then obviously we've clocked we're cousins, and we're like, oh my god, we're cousins, whatever. And then, okay, so this is where shit gets a bit awkward, yeah? I obviously had no hard feelings towards her. I didn't even have hard feelings towards her at the time. When I found out, I was like, you know what, it's just typical that this shit would happen to me. Like, my man cheats on me and then I find out it's with my cousin. Like, okay, just another day in my life, to be honest, but whatever. But okay, so I had no hard feelings towards her. I was just like, whatever, it was in the past. And she wasn't to know at the end of the day. Like I said this earlier, he had basically manipulated her as well. And girls, just a little like side note again, but you know when your man cheats on you, it's so weird, because don't you think, like, you think you know what your man's timetable is? or like, you know what I mean? Like, you think you know what he does in the day. So when like you find out your man's been cheating, honestly, it baffles me, because I'm like, when did you find the time? Like, honestly, it's so disrespectful. Like, so on your day off, instead of telling me you got a day off, you're gonna go link other girls. Is that what you're gonna do? Like, oh. Anyway, yeah, whatever. So then what was I saying? Okay, yeah, this is when shit got a bit awkward. So when I turned 21, obviously your girl celebrated for like over a week. But anyway, on like my last night out that I did for my birthday, where all my friends was out and everything, basically including Enrique. Why can I not find my mascara? Honestly, I do not know how I lose everything in this. Oh, okay, found it. All right, so my friends are all out. We're all out for my 21st, and yeah, obviously Enrique is there as well. And now Jose wasn't actually gonna come out that night, because he was like, oh, you can just have a night out with your friends. And I was like, yeah, well, listen, yeah, it's up to you, like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. But anyway, he ends up coming out as well with his boys. So now we're all out, and the club that we're in is a bit of like, it's a bit of a bait, well, it used to be a bit of a bait club. If you're from Grwm and you're brown, you know which club I'm talking about. Good old Mooch. We're all in Mooch. So we're in Mooch, and you know, I'm obviously litty at this time. Okay, yeah, bearing in mind, even after me finding out she's my cousin, like, the most interaction me and her have had is like that initial conversation where, you know, we found out we were cousins. And then what? And then obviously after that, all we would do was like each other's pictures on Grwm. That's it. That's the most interaction me and her had. So anyway, I'm obviously in the club, I'm litty, it's my 21st, you know. And then what happens is, I'm walking down like these like stairs, and all I see is her. And obviously, you know, when you're drunk, you don't really know if you're singing right sometimes. Like, you can't tell. So I'm bare like, I swear that's her. I'm looking at her, I'm like, I swear that's her, you know. And then anyway, it turns out it is her. So then Enrique is in the club as well, obviously. And then I can't remember whether he introduced us or what. Basically, yeah, I think he did. So I think he's like behind me, and he like sees her, and then obviously them two were like still, I don't know whether they were still doing a thing or what at that point, but yeah. So oh, I can't talk and do my lips at the same time. What was I saying? Okay, yeah. So Enrique and her, obviously, you know, whatever. So then he's like introduced us. So me and her were like, oh, like, give each other a hug or whatever. And then I think like we was like, oh my god, can't believe we're actually cousins, this and that. Anyway, okay, yeah, so Jose was, at this time, he was obviously just wandering around the club with his boys. So I don't even know if he knew she was in the club. But then, obviously, okay guys, I'm that friend that doesn't smoke but gets dragged to the smoking area with all my friends that do smoke. So honestly, if you ever catch me on a night out and I'm just standing in the smoking area, it's because my friends have dragged me there. And I'm just standing there in the cold, waiting for them to finish barbecuing their lungs. Anyway, So I think I was out there with like Enrique and that, and they were smoking, and then I think Angelica and whoever she was with came out there as well. Next thing I know, so they're standing with us as well, right? Next thing I know, Jose walks up to us, and I don't even think at this point he knew that she was standing there. So he's walked up here, and them two just looked at each other, and then me and Enrique look at each other, and we're like, shit, like this is a bit awkward. But you know when you're drunk, so you don't really appreciate how awkward it actually is, because you find things funny. Them two kind of like said hello to each other and shit, and it was just weird as fuck, because I just thought, wow, like this shit is awkward. But yeah, so that's the end of that story time. I hope you found it entertaining. I hope none of you ever have to relate to your man cheating on you with your cousin. But anyway, I will see you lot in my next video. Maybe another story time, because I've got hella stories to tell.